When you're building a business, it's going to be very lonely. It's going to be very dark, and you're going to feel very isolated a lot of the time. Your emotions are going to go all over the place, and you're always going to be questioning whether or not you're doing the right thing and whether or not you're on the right path. And that's a good thing. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can turn dark, lonely seasons of isolation into just absolute catalysts that launch and propel you forward to incredibly new heights so you can achieve all of the things that you want in life. So I was reading a book yesterday called Iron John, and it's a book about men. So basically it tells the story and a fable of a man's life and all of the stages that a man must go through in order to kind of become his fullest self. And one of the things was that the boy in the story started as like a king's son. So he was pretty high up in the pecking order, right? He was a part of the royal family, all that kind of stuff. And it got to a point, a bunch of stuff happened, there's a bunch of stages in between. But the important part is that he went from up here to down here, working a kitchen job in some other kingdom where he was an absolute nobody. And I had a very similar stage of my life as well. So I came from a really awesome family, right? We did okay growing up and everything was good. And I went to a really nice university and got a nice fancy business degree. But then after that, I went into my dark season. Now, one of my buddies, Cole, he does like $1 million a month. He also told a story about this as well. I think he called it like the lonely season or the lonely phase. I call it the dark season because to me it was really dark. I graduated in 2019 and then moved back home with my parents to start a business. All of a sudden COVID hit, my girlfriend dumped me, my dog died all within like a month. And so I'm in Canada, so I couldn't really leave my house. The lockdowns were ridiculous. And it forced me to go inside. It forced me to roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty, and face the work that I was avoiding. And I think a lot of people expect the path and the journey to just be all sunshine and rainbows. And even if you don't, I think deep down subconsciously, a big part of you does. But what I wish I understood back then as I was going through that, and for me it lasted about 2 years of just grinding away in my parents' basement, starting businesses, failing, learning skills, reading a book a week, all that kind of stuff, right? Until I started to actually gain some sort of traction. And then I was able to move out into this place. I've been here for 3 years now. And I'm actually moving out in a couple weeks, which is crazy. So that'll be sweet. So stay tuned for the new update and condo and stuff like that. But back to the story. So it's important that as you're in this phase, and I think it's also really important to understand that this phase doesn't just happen one time. I think it's a constant cycle of peaks and troughs, right? Peaks and valleys, ups and downs, highs and lows. But as we grow, ideally we want our highs to be higher and our lows to be higher. So if your previous low is down here, you want your next low to be up here. That's how the stock market works. If you look at it, when you zoom way out, it goes up and to the right. However, if you zoom in, what it looks like is up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But the highs get higher and the lows get higher as well. And so you're moving in this trajectory. And so as long as you understand that if you're in a low season right now, that just means you're preparing for and you're about to take off to get to the next level. However, a lot of people waste this season. A lot of people waste their time in this lonely season of isolation because they don't actually do the things that they know they should be doing that are going to set them up for the most and the highest success in that next season. In other words, the lower you go, or like the nastier you get in your low, the harder you work, the further back you're pulling the slingshot that's going to propel you forward to the next high, which means that the harder you work right now during the season of darkness, loneliness, isolation, the higher your next high is going to be. And then ultimately, the higher your next high is going to be, the higher your next low after that's going to be as well. And that's how you see a lot of exponential growth and progress over a long period of time. is because the people that understand this are the ones that make the most out of every single season that they're in. They understand that seasons are natural. It's a way of the world and the universe, right? There's spring, summer, fall, and winter, and it's a cycle. It repeats. There's seasons. There's seasons of sowing your seeds, and then there's seasons of reaping the harvest. And if you sow enough seeds, there will be a harvest. That was one of the things that Ed Milet told me when I was at his house a few weeks ago in Florida. He said, if you sow enough seeds, there will be a harvest. What that means is basically, if you plant enough seeds, yes, the wind's gonna get some, the birds are gonna get some, and whatnot, but if there's enough of them, some of them will start sprouting up, and then they will produce a harvest, and you will be able to reap the rewards later on. Most people fail because they don't plant enough seeds. Or they plant the seeds, but they don't cultivate them, they don't nourish them, they don't actually help them grow into beautiful crops that pay you back and nourish you. And so if you're in a season of isolation right now, good. That means you're being prepared for the next season of growth and harvest. But it's on you to decide how quickly and how great that next season of harvest comes. And the way that you control that is by working harder than ever to get yourself out of this low, to propel you so fast and so aggressively into that next high that it becomes inevitable. And when it's inevitable, that means it's going to happen, and that means everything that you want in life will also happen. It's only a matter of time. So don't waste the season you're in right now. Understand that it is part of your character development. Embrace it, because it's turning you into the person that you need to become in order to actually hit the highs that you want, to actually get the things that you want, to actually build and create and live the life that you want. If you don't have the dark seasons, you're never going to get that stuff. If you do, it's going to be very, very short-lived. And just as in The Dark Knight, one of the greatest movies of all time, probably the greatest movie of all time, it says, the night is darkest just before the dawn. So just before the sun comes up, that's when it's the darkest. So if you're feeling like you're in a dark season, a dark stage right now, just know there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's on you to take one step forward every single day and turn that crawl into a walk and that walk into a run, and do the things you know you should be doing that are going to propel you forward to hit that. So that's for the video. Appreciate you. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.